And now to the latest developments from the coalition saga. The ANC National Executive Committee is scheduled to meet tomorrow to discuss their performance in local elections as well as the ongoing negotiations. Meanwhile, the Democratic Alliance has denied rumours of reaching a coalition agreement with the EFF. The party says it is not desperate to come into power, and the reports of a deal with the EFF being promised Tshwane in return for helping the Democratic Alliance secure Johannesburg are baseless.
There's no truth in this whatsoever. It hasn't been placed on the table at all, and in any event, it would be rejected by the Democratic Alliance. We are not in this to govern at all costs, and if a government is formed by means of bribes or inducements, then I think it's a pretty unstable government. We would rather find a fundamental agreement and then govern in those municipalities with the interests of the voter as paramount, rather than to offer people positions or money to get into our political bed with us.
As rumours and conjectures rule the roost, let's take a look at where the various parties stand publicly as of now. First comes the ANC, nationally still the #1 party. The ANC is keeping all its options open. In talks with the economic freedom fighters in Gauteng and other parties in the rest of the provinces, its only refrain is engaging with the Democratic Alliance. The DA, meanwhile, is going all out to hunt for coalition partners, specifically in the metros that now look within reach. Trying hard to woo the EFF, the party is also facing charges of horse trading that it has vehemently denied. The party poopers and the kingmakers, the EFF, meanwhile, are being wooed by one and all. While taking persistent jibes to the ANC and setting tough conditions, Julius Malema's cadres are still keeping their cards close to their chests. Also playing hard to get is the UDM. While they are still to make public their terms and conditions, the removal of President Jacob Zuma is reported to be one of their conditions. Meanwhile, the ANC's pre-poll alliance partner in KwaZulu-Natal, the IFP, is upset over the party's engagement with the NFP.
At the end of the day, as much as you have bread and butter issues, on the sideline, you also have national issues that are a bargaining tool from different sides of the fence to say, is coalition possible or not? To suggest that we might not go for re-election in certain municipalities, we might be asking too much. This in itself is a tool that the EFF has. It's a draw card. They can pull it any time. They might want to spoil. Remember, at the end of the day, they also want to be somewhere in terms of not only as kingmakers, but also garner influence and power. That's the nature of politics. There's no doubt about that.
Obviously, there's different players in different municipalities, but it is looking at either opposition or going with the ruling party. That's the choice. And for some of us, going with the ruling party is not an option, because the ruling party, I think the people have spoken, and the ruling party has had its opportunity to govern, and it's really messed up in some places. And those are the places where they didn't get a majority.
We have I think, quite a sophisticated electorate in South Africa. People have spoken. They do not like corruption. We're facing a very serious set of developmental challenges and growth challenges, and we have the prospect of a downgrade. And are we going to here, in a sense, sacrifice or keep in abeyance a set of principles which do not allow us to cooperate with one another, and in the process bring the whole house down? And that's another dilemma. They're going to have to horse trade. It can become an unedifying business. It may also be an enormously emancipatory business. And that, I think, is important for our politics.